Hello again and welcome to Ndudu by Fafa.
So today on the menu we do have the Bambara nuts with some Tatale. Now Tatale is just the same as the kakro recipe that I did in one of my previous videos, so you need to check it out. And you know, the kakro is actually like in a lovely bowl shape, whereby the Tatale is actually, did I just say Tatale? Oh gosh. Whereby the Tatale is actually flat. Now, the Tatale, I'm actually going to show you how to actually make it without adding any flour. It's tricky, trust me. And guess what? I even burned some. I will show you that because that's the reality. I was actually multitasking, minding my own business somewhere else, forgot about it slightly and it burned. I look at my body. I didn't know as I shared, and I was just looking at it and I was like, hey, I'm looking here. Wonderful. So anyway, I was lucky that I did a little bit more, so I was able to fry the rest, and yeah, I redeemed the day. You see, I'm having like a funeral with my Tatale. Oh, Tatale, oh, Tatale. Hey, Tatale, no, bye, Tatale, Tatale, no, bye, Tatale. This is a channel you want to be on if you want to have fun. You actually want to learn about creative African cooking, and you know, just subscribe, share with family and friends. Let's make this channel grow. It's fun. Hit that like button as well, like it and comment on it, and let's roll. Thank you, let's start cooking.
Bambara beans, Bambara nuts. Actually it's known as Bambara nuts because it's a nut. Soak your Bambara nuts overnight. It's imperative you do so because it cuts your cooking time in half. If not, you are going to spend hours on end trying to cook this till it's soft. So it's imperative that you do soak this the night before. Now when you do soak it, it actually absorbs a lot of the water as well, and it actually forms this perfect ball and it swells up and it's just beautiful. So once you've actually achieved that consistency or that look where it's just nice and round and beautiful and pearl-like, you know that your Bambara nuts are actually ready for the boil. Now, if you've been following my cooking, you know that I've also got a slight obsession with wintia, which is the grains of psyllium. And I'll be adding this to my Bambara nuts, and as well as some chili to give it that heat, sugar to give it that little sweetness, and salt to taste. I've actually got 750 milliliters of water, and I've placed it in a saucepan on a medium heat, and I've added my Bambara nuts. I'm also adding my wintia, which is about 3 stalks, or which is the grains of psyllium, and then also adding my green chilies. Now the reason why I chose to actually include the wintia to it is the wintia actually has this like black peppercorn musky taste, and it's so aromatic and it works perfectly with this dish. And the chili also gives it that residual heat because the Bambara nuts is actually quite nutty in taste. Hence this Bambara nuts is going to be aromatic, it's going to be sweet, and it's also going to be spicy. So that's just a perfect combination. Now when your Bambara nuts actually comes to a boil, it would actually have the impurities actually up on the surface, what I call scum. That's so dodgy. So I'm just using a perforated spatula here, and I'm getting rid of all the white bits or the impurities or the scum. Just get rid of it, yes. And then we just continue to actually boil this till the water runs dry. This should take up to about 20 minutes, and then you need to add another 500 milliliters of water to allow it to boil again till the water runs almost dry. After adding the water, lower your heat to its lowest setting, and we're going to cook this gently for about 35 to 40 minutes, where it will be nice, creamy, beautiful, and you know that it's ready. Look at that. At this point, remove your wintia as well as your chili, and then your Bambara beans is almost ready. Now I'm just adding a little bit of butter. You can add some shea butter, unrefined shea butter that is, or some coconut oil, and it gives it that glaze and also gives it that extra flavor. At this point, I'm just going to add my sugar, and I'm actually using brown sugar, but you can use your white sugar because Bambara beans actually has the sweetness, and you've got that little spiciness going with the infusion of the chili. Mix everything till it's well combined, and then at this point I'm actually going to be adding some salt to taste. add your salt and just cook this gently for an extra minute, and your Bambara beans is creamy, beautiful, glossy, and it's ready to be served. So now that you've got that beautiful consistency and texture for your Bambara beans or Bambara nuts and it's ready, we can now concentrate on making our tatale. Now tatale is actually made out of plantain. It's almost the same recipe as the kakro. However, I'm actually going to be making this without the flour. So for this recipe, you will need about 2 overripened plantains. Now that would serve about 2 to 3 people, depending again on how hungry they are. Now peel the plantain to reveal the beautiful sweet flesh. And now we can talk about the spices. This is where one can actually be creative. You can use allspice, which is just great with this recipe, or you can use cloves, aniseed. You can also use wintia as well. But for this recipe, I'm actually going to be using my cloves, ginger, onion, and wintia. However, I've actually got a recipe on my blog ndudubyfafa.blogspot.com where I've actually also used the allspice and I've included an egg as well. This is all optional, but this is a recipe I'm going to be just making without it. So here I have my blended ginger, onion, aniseed, as well as cloves, and I'm adding some salt. This is almost similar to the recipe that I used for the kakro. And just going to mash everything till I have a beautiful sort of rough sort of consistency. At this point, you can actually incorporate your heat in terms of chili. So you can use your red chili or your green chili, and this is optional in using spring onions. At this point, you can also incorporate some herbs that you have available. You can try your fresh thyme, you can add your coriander, your parsley, whichever you prefer, and mix everything together. Now we're going to start frying. So I'm actually using coconut oil for frying today. I mean, you can use your palm oil or your vegetable oil, whichever oil you prefer, or groundnut oil maybe, and then just scoop a tablespoonful, so nothing more, nothing less. So this is a vegetarian dish as well. And now this is where it becomes tricky because it has no flour to actually hold this or bind this together. But the trick around it is to actually make sure that it forms a crust at the bottom. So you have to leave it to fry on a very low heat. That should take about 4 minutes, whereby the crust would actually form perfectly. And then it's easy to then actually turn around. But of course, when you turn in, bear in mind that because it has no flour, it's a little bit on the tricky side. So you need to actually start reforming it and bringing it together, and just doing what I'm doing. Or alternatively, just add your flour and make it easier for yourself. Now, the reason why I choose not to actually add the flour for this is because I like it soft and, I don't want it tough a little bit. Nah. But you see, this is where I'm going to show you how difficult it can be. Look at me. It will spread. Should I try it? We don't work. I mean, equally, I could have actually hated this video, but no, I want you to see how real and how difficult it can be. So look at the number of attempts. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter even if it scatters because you can reform it into that beautiful ball that you actually wanted. And this is almost ready. So you just fry it 4 minutes on each side, on a very low heat that is, and you've got your tatale ready. Now let's start to eat. So I'm only left with my 2 tatales. I bet the rest, didn't I? So anyway, here you have your tatale and aboboi, yes, or Bambara nuts or Bambara beans. Anyway, I've also made Bambara beans with some spicy shrimp sauce and some tatale on my cookery show Ndudu by Fafa on ABN Sky 235. So do check it out from some time to time. Now, if you're happy with what you've seen so far, do not forget to click that subscribe button. Show me some love. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Ndudu by Fafa. Find the transcript of this recipe on my blog ndudubyfafa.blogspot.com, including the measurements as well as the ingredients. You'd also find inspiring recipes on my blog fafagilbert.com. Do check it out. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you have, please do not hesitate to share with your family and friends. Help me spread the word. It's Ndudu by Fafa. It's creative African cooking. One love. Thank you. Mwah. Until next time.